Hey friends, it's Sarah from SJ Florals, and today I'm going to share this watercolor tutorial with you all. This tutorial will be a little different as I won't explain what I'm doing. I kind of struggle to explain it. Instead, I'm going to keep it close to real time. I've decided to make it just slightly faster, so it's going to be at 125%, so it's the tiniest bit faster. It shouldn't be too noticeable, but it's just so that I could make the audio fit better with the video. And instead I'll answer some questions that I received on Instagram a few weeks back now. Sorry guys, took a little while to get to it doing this video. I'll try to do better in the future. Anyhow, I hope you find some of the answers helpful or interesting, and obviously watching the video helpful. And let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do more videos like this in the future, or if it's better for me to just explain the video as I go along. Okay, so first off, before I actually start the questions and answers, I'm just going to give you my materials list, and as always, it will also be included in the caption as well. Anyhow, so first of all, I'll be using the Vintage Bee Archer and Olive watercolor journal that I drew the flowers in beforehand, with the Sakura of America Pigma Micron in a size 05. I'll be painting with the Archer and Olive primary watercolor set using round brushes in approximately a size 8 and a 2. I'll explain in a few moments why I said approximately when I get into the questions. And also, if you're interested in purchasing anything from Archer and Olive, I am an affiliate, and you can purchase through my affiliate link and use my affiliate discount code, which is Sarah10, both of which again will be in the caption. Just to let you know, being an affiliate means that I do get a small commission from any purchases made, and it's a great way to support me as a creator. So thanks guys in advance if you choose to purchase through the link. Okay, so let's get started with the first question. What brush sizes would you recommend for someone beginning watercolors? Okay, so I almost exclusively use round brushes, and I decided when I got this question, I'll go through all my brushes, have a look, see which ones I use the most. When I did that, I came into a little bit of a pickle. I realized that I own a few brushes that look to be almost the same size, but the numbers on the brushes are completely different. So it's got me completely questioning what sizes brushes actually are. So I'm not 100% sure. But basically, I recommend a super fine brush, a small medium-sized brush, and then a large brush. And for me, the numbers that I have on these brushes for the smallish medium brush is anywhere between a 1 and a 4, the large brush an 8 or a 10, and then the super fine brush is just one of those super fine details brushes. I'm not 100% sure what the size is though, but hopefully that helps. On to the next question. What's it like being creative and a parent? How do you encourage your kids' creativity? For me, it's very important to try and foster whatever my girls are drawn to. So we've had many discussions already in their little lives about what they wish to be when they grow up, which obviously I know they're only really young and this is just what they're interested in now, but they like to talk about it, so we talk about it. And they're actually really interested in art, which obviously makes sense. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so they do see me draw and paint, and they love to do that as well. But at the same time, they're interested in about 16 other things that they say that they want to do when they grow up. So really, for us, it's just important to be supportive of whatever they're interested in and to try and help them along whatever path they choose, I guess. We're very much focused around having a person-to-person relationship with our children and talk to them as such rather than kind of, I don't know, talking to them in a way that they are made to feel like they are just children and they don't understand anything. I kind of feel like I'm going off on a tangent, but basically it's important for us to really support the kids, and whatever they want to do, we support. Again, they're really little, so there's not a whole lot involved in just being supportive at this age, but hopefully we'll always be very supportive in whatever they're interested in. I hope that was kind of an answer. Again, I know that I tend to just go off on random tangents. So the next question, what's something you want to try and draw but are scared to try? Oh my goodness. Okay. For me, that's very easy. My girls, I'd love to draw like really pretty portraits or paint portraits of them. I've seen so many beautiful creative ways that other artists have captured particularly children and beautifully created portraits with them. I'm just a little bit scared that it won't work. It'll be terrible and won't look like them. I find that I used to love drawing portraits, but anytime I tried to draw someone I knew, I was like, oh my goodness, this does not look like them. So if I tried to draw my children, I feel like I'd be thinking that I haven't nailed the drawing at all. On to the next question. What is my favourite Australian animal? So I think there's kind of quite a few cool animals in Australia. I'm not a fan of the creepy crawly ones. I'm petrified of spiders, so I'm not going to put that on the list. I love kangaroos, koalas. They're really cool. But I'll go with quokkas, because quokkas are just, they're so cute. If you haven't seen a quokka before, Google a quokka. There is an island just off of Perth. It's called Rottnest, and it is covered in quokkas. The whole reason that this island's called Rottnest is it was named like after a rat's nest, because there was so many quokkas and they were referring to the quokkas as rats. And so that's how the name came about. And yeah, literally you go to Rottnest and they're just everywhere. You go to the little restaurant and they come up. They're just so cute. Anyhow, how did you get into watercolour? So actually, I hated watercolour when I was in school. Like, I very much hated it. My art style was a combo of realism with a whole lot of lazy, for lack of a better description. So mostly I drew with graphite or I painted with acrylic, and as I felt I had more control with both of those mediums, I stuck with those. And I felt when I tried to use watercolour, I couldn't make it work. It was too unpredictable for me. Anyhow, let's fast forward a fair few bunch of years. I started to actually really enjoy that unpredictability and the less perfect side to art. And so I fell in love with watercolours again. I know watercolours can be beautifully realistic and detailed, and there are some incredible artists that do the most amazing realistic art with watercolours. My general style is not particularly realistic with watercolours. On to the next question. How did you originally get into bullet journaling? Maybe just over 4 years ago, I think I stumbled across bullet journaling on Instagram. I saw all these amazing pages and I loved the art aspect of it. And I saw it as a way to get back into creating, because it had been like years since I regularly created. So I thought, hey, why not give this a shot? I began chatting to the lovely Kimmy from Bumble Bujo, and for months I picked her brain about it, and I researched, and I thought, hey, I have to get this right, I have to get it right. From the beginning, I was kind of wrong. I feel like there's no way to go into bullet journaling and have it right from the beginning. You kind of have to start using it and then find your way along the way. So with my first bullet journal, I created all the pages that I thought were necessary, and then I realized after I finished my first bullet journal, actually some of these pages just didn't work for me. I didn't need them. They weren't actually relevant. They didn't help me. It was just me wasting time on pages and space on pages, so I ended up axing them, and I don't use a lot of those pages now. Anyhow, I also set up my Instagram account at the same time as when I started my first bullet journal. I think it was about May of 2018, and I used that as a way to document my bullet journal, but it kind of ended up kind of veering off onto a botanical path rather than a bullet journal path. Yeah. So the next question, what are some places you'd love to travel to? So I'll go with just my top 2 places, otherwise I may never stop talking. So firstly, I've been dreaming of going to Japan since way back in my uni days. I feel it'd be such an interesting mix of traditional and cutting edge, and the food and the stationery, guys. Like, seriously, the stationery. And next would have to be New Zealand. I can't believe how close it is to Australia, like so close. And yet it's so different from a landscape point of view. Like, it looks like it has the most amazing scenery. Whereas where I live, I can literally drive up the coast for 14, 15 hours, and it's basically the same kind of thing for most of it. But yeah. Anyhow, when did you realize that this was going to be your job? To be honest, this is a hobby for me. I'd totally love for it to be something more. But for now, it's mostly something I do to de-stress and have me time. I do obviously have some brand affiliations, and I do collaborate with brands from time to time. But mostly it's just a hobby for me. Next up, do you do art stuff with your little girls? Kind of touched on this before, but definitely. So much art stuff in our house. And I'm also terrible for getting more and more art supplies for them as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen the insane amount of stationery that I buy because, well, that's my vice. I also have like a huge stash for the girls, and they enjoy doing it. So, yeah, we keep doing it. I'll be honest, it makes me so happy that they do enjoy creating, and I encourage them to create. I try hard not to encourage them too much though. Like, I don't want to push them into being little artists if they're not interested in it. As I said before, with my husband and myself, it's very much about supporting them in whatever they want to do. But yeah, I love that they're currently interested in it, and as long as they are, we're going to keep doing artsy craftsy stuff. So what's one thing about art that intimidates you? Okay, so this is a big one for me. I'll be really honest, it's trying to monetize my work, like in any way. By that, I mean, I don't simply mean to sell it, like that's scary enough, but the idea of creating a painting and not sealing it or using a paint that won't last on a mural, like not using the correct materials and then something happening, and I'm always so anxious about things like that happening and being like the person who bought it going, this has happened now, and I'll be like, oh my goodness, what do I do? I don't know. Yeah, that's probably an anxiety thing, which I probably need to try and work on more, and I definitely am. But yeah, that's my big, scary, intimidating thing about art. What's your creative goal for this year? Oh, okay, so for this year, my big one is getting my artwork on disposable coffee cups. Like these I think the brand's BioCup. Yes, it's BioCup. They a lot of coffee shops have these cups, and they've got like artist artwork on it, and every time I see one I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I would love to have my artwork on one of these cups. So yeah, that's definitely my big creative goal this year, and I'm looking into it, and I'm gonna see what I've got to do to try and get it to happen. But I am determined that I want that one to happen this year. So that's my goal. How about you guys? Whilst I've got you here, what's your big creative goal this year? What is it you'd like to achieve? Is it making your first painting, your first drawings, or is it selling a painting? Is it painting something special for yourself or a loved one? Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to know what everyone's creative goals are. On to the next question. How often do you practice and for how long? This is a hard one. I try for daily, but there are periods where I can go weeks with little drawing or painting time. I'd say on average, maybe half an hour a day. But like I said, that probably looks more like an hour here and then nothing for the rest of the week, and then 2 hours there. It's something that you want to work on regularly if you are trying to get better. I recommend at the very least have something like a sketchbook that you can draw in at the ready, and just give it any time you have. So even 5 minutes here or there, it all adds up. And that's basically what I do. That's why I have so many journals and sketchbooks around the house, and different sizes. You can just kind of do a little bit here and there, and just work on little things if that's a goal that you have. Now for the last question. What's a fruit that you don't eat? Gosh, I don't know that there is any fruits that I don't eat. In general with foods and fruit and everything, I kind of give everything a shot. I'll try anything. The only food that I don't really eat is pickles and capsicum. Everything else, I'll give it a shot. Oh, I lie. And salt and vinegar chips. I hate salt and vinegar chips. But fruits, I will try them all. I like them all. I mean, I don't love certain fruits. I guess there's certain fruits like that you just kind of eat because you know it's healthy and it's good to eat fruit. But yeah, I won't say no to any fruit. Wow, so I managed to answer all the questions with quite a bit of time left over. First up, if you are one of the people that asked me a question, thank you so much for doing so. And secondly, if I answered your question and I didn't really answer it, please let me know in the comments, and I will try and answer it a bit better, or you can DM me on Instagram and we can kind of talk it through a little bit better. Anyway, I figured since we've got time, I might just at least talk a little bit about the techniques that I'm using and generally use in most of my watercolor paintings, even if I'm not explaining it as I go. So the main technique I use in all my watercolor paintings is wet on wet, which I've possibly explained in other videos before. If you are unsure of what this means, it's basically, as it sounds, wet on wet, making sure your page is wet when adding the actual colour in. So the way you do this is either using a light wash of the colour or just plain water. You wet a section of your painting and then add more pigment to your brush, and then you just like drop it in. So you can either like layer it over the whole thing, or you can just, as I do, as you can see me doing right now actually, I just kind of drop it in places and then let it bleed out. You can just let the paint work its magic, which is what I quite like. I quite like doing that. In this painting, I've done this basically just to add some depth and movement to my petals. You can see I haven't actually done it in a super realistic way, as I love to just let the paint move and mix and do its own thing. But it definitely helps to make the blooms pop a bit, I guess. You can, however, use this to great effect for more realistic pieces to add the shadows and the depth where needed. Or you can try wet on dry, which, as it sounds, is you paint on the paper while it's dry. And this can give you more control of what the paint will actually do. It'll be a little bit more predictable as to where the paint's going to go. So another tip, using one of my favourite watercolour tools, is the trusty, handy paper towel. Yup, that's pretty much one of my favourite tools to use. And I highly recommend having a paper towel or a rag around as you paint, because they are just so handy, whether it be cleaning your paintbrushes as you go, making sure getting the excess water off, ensuring that the pigment from the other part of the painting is cleaned off your brush. Or what I was about to say, if you accidentally put too much pigment or water down on your page, you can actually use it to mop it back up with the paper towel. This can also actually apply to dried paint, depending on the type of paper you use. Because, I mean, I've sometimes tried to do this on some papers, and it just, because the paper just sucks that color in, it won't let up. Whereas a lot of like watercolor paper, and particularly the better ones with like 100% cotton, they're able to take quite a beating. And so basically what you do is you put your wet paintbrush in and just kind of move it into the paint so that it can kind of loosen that paint and lift it up, and then just use your paper towel to blot it out, and you can usually pick up quite a bit of pigment doing this. So now we're basically at the end of the painting. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I hope you've learned a thing or two. If you have enjoyed it and you don't currently subscribe, please consider subscribing, leave a comment, thumbs up. If you've got any queries about the painting, leave a comment and ask, or any queries about any of the questions and answers, leave a comment for that too. And don't forget to let me know if you want to see more of these type videos, or if you'd prefer just the general narrated videos. Until next time, guys, bye.